Welcome back. It is approaching the witching hour here at the Bland Gaming headquarters, aka my dining room table. And my wife went to bed 2 hours ago, and I just received this Kickstarter in the mail, and I just played my first game of Final Girl. Here we go. Final Girl, I should say, swearing. Final Girl Season 2 is the one that I got. And I was trying to get a good shot of the box. It's over here. There we go. But I dropped it. So, anyway, I wanted to share with you guys about my experience. Now, you have to understand that even though I played this, I only played one scenario and one monster, or killer as the game calls them. The killer are compatible with the different maps. So basically, you're going to be picking when you say you want to play Final Girl, you're going to be picking one of three things, right? First, you're going to pick a Final Girl who you want to, and actually this is the wrong side up there. That's what it's supposed to be. So, as boring as I am, I went ahead and chose the typical alien scenario. But the thing to remember is that all of these characters from Final Girl are completely compatible. So I didn't have to take Ellen. I took Ellen because I said, hey, let's play Alien, right? And then I went ahead and chose the Evomorph, which is basically the Xenomorph from Alien without the license. And then we're playing on board the USS Conrad, which is basically a spaceship here. But the thing to remember about this game that's so cool is you can choose any one of the cards, the Final Girl from any one of the scenarios. You can choose any one of the monsters. And if you look at these, and then any one of the maps that you want. So in the basic set that I bought the Season 2 set here. So if you buy the Season 2 set, or if you even buy just two of these little boxes, so you'll get one box that's like the basic rules, and then you'll need at least one scenario box, but if you buy more than one, you can get these here. So like this one here, this box has the Intruders, which is kind of it's very much like the Purge type of scenario where you got these three psychopaths, and then the Wingard Cottage is the location. And you'll get one of these scenario boxes here. So everything you see laid out here, well, almost everything. I mean, a lot of these come from the core box here, and then also the things like the miniatures and stuff are because I was a Kickstarter backer. Most of the pieces will be cardboard, meeples, things like that. But as far as the card, the map, and the setup, this is what you're going to see. But in your scenario box, like it's magnetized, so it comes off so that you have the actual location map there on one side of the box, and then any cards or counters or anything that are with the location there. And then if you flip it over on the other side, then you will be able to get the, if I can get it, it'll have the monster. Yeah, the magnets. So just to show you, I'm trying to do this one-handed. The magnets are very strong, which is kind of cool. So it peels right off. And then here we have our Intruders, which is a monster set, just kind of like the Evomorph here, where we've got all their different stats for each one of them. It's pretty cool. And then any special counters or instructions on how to use them as well. So with each scenario that you play, you're going to wind up reading your basic instructions here, which tell you the basic rules of the game, right? And then each one you'll have basic instructions for your map, special rules for that, and then you'll have special rules for the creature here. Now, on its top, that might seem like a lot of rules, and I guess it is, but the game structure itself is very simple. And then each one has some special rules, and I didn't find it too terribly complicated. The one thing that did surprise me is, given the size of the game and the fact that it is a solitaire game, just take a look. It takes up a lot more table. Oh my gosh, total social faux pas. Bland Gaming drink of the day. So I'm still kind of recovering from St. Patrick's Day yesterday, but this is Saturday night. So I decided to have a glass of Chardonnay. I thought that would be good while I was sitting here playing that. So it was a ice cold glass of Chardonnay. It was very warm here on the West Coast where I was today. So I decided, heck yeah, let's have it. So, okay. So I was surprised at how much space the game takes. It does take a full table. This is not something that you're going to be able to break out on like a little card table or something like that. Even though you're playing all by yourself, you'll actually have quite a bit of stuff. Again, though, I guess if I was going to say on the complexity of the game, I would say it's very, despite all of its interchangeability and all of its moving parts, depending on like which final girl you choose, which creature you choose, and which location you choose, I still found it to be very intuitive. It was very easy, and I would say on complexity about mid-level. As you can see on the back of the main instructions here, it has signs for any of the icons telling you what they mean, and then literally this turn summary here. It's that simple, and that's all you needed to follow the entire time. So it was actually very easy to follow, very easy to play. It took me about 2 hours to play. That's including setup, where I was setting everything up. And part of my problem too is because I did have the Kickstarter, I'm pulling things out of like 5 different boxes, while if you just buy the retail version, you're going to probably get everything in one box. So if you do, like I have the little plastic creature miniatures because I backed the Kickstarter, and you can buy those retail, but you're going to use little red meeples in place of those. If you go ahead and choose it, or like, so I've got these really nice counters here for like your final damage and stuff. These are basically little cardboard pieces in the retail set, which look fine, and they do just fine. It's a little funny thing too. Like this is a little blood splatter as a marker for here, but it's just a little regular red dot right there. So it's not that big of a deal. This is your final girl. I think this purple one. Or, if you buy the little box separate, then this is Ellen. And I'm a sucker for miniatures, so and these miniatures, I will tell you, are beautiful. There's no flash on them or anything like that. The scale is really interesting. It's very different. And then I think you can even buy the vehicle pack, where you get the little power loader, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but you don't need these to play. If you're on a budget, you can play the game. It'll be just as fun using just meeples and cardboard pieces. So anyway, let's talk about how you play the game. So the first thing that you're going to do is the game is very simple in the sense that either the final girl dies or the killer dies. And when one of those two things happen, the game ends. So going through each turn here, you'll have a hand of action cards. And these action cards are right here. These are the 6 things that you can go ahead and do each of your turn here. So, you can walk, you can do an attack, whatever. But you cannot do anything without playing a card. So you're always going to play a card whether you want to do something. So for instance, let's say we've got our Ellen Ripley wannabe right here, and we want to move her, okay? So if we want to move her and she starts here, and we want to move her from here to here, that's 1 space. So I would have to play a walk card. So then what I would do is I would look over here at where the horror level is. Right now, the starting horror level for the ectomorph is 4. So the starting horror level here is 4, right? And this shows that I would roll 2 dice for each of my actions, anytime I take an action. Now, the lower the horror level, if I can ever get down to 1, I'm going to be rolling 3 dice. But if it ever gets more than 6, I'm only going to be rolling 1 die, okay? So I want to keep it in this area here, and there's in-game actions, which will allow me to keep the horror level down. The horror level is basically a hockey mask thing. The other thing, too, this is a time, how much time that she has. You use time as a kind of a resource in order to buy action cards. Every time she does an action, she loses time here, and then at the end of her turn, whatever time is left, you buy from the action cards which you have laid out here. And each one of these action cards has a certain number of time that you use to buy it, right? Some of them are very low, like the scan is only 1 time, right? While some of them, like the critical blow, you need 6 time in order to buy that one. But that is a kick butt ability. As a matter of fact, I won the first scenario, and I used a critical blow to do, wait for it, a critical blow on the Evomorph here. Okay, so anyway, then at the end of your turn, the timer will go back up. It'll reset at 6. Oops. So it'll reset up to 6 and everything each turn. Oh, God, I'm going to try not to say and everything. I know that's a verbal thing I have. So anyhow, so she wants to walk, right? I would roll these 2 dice here, see what I get, right? And, well, okay, let's pretend I didn't suck, all right? Let's pretend I rolled at least 1 success. Well, no, okay, let's say I suck, all right? Deeb, you suck, all right? So, there, I suck. So, what I do is I look and see what I get. If I have no successes, then I could move up to 1 space. I do move 1 space. I lose 1 health. I lose 1 of my hearts here. And Ellen has 4 hearts, so I've put 4 hearts on her little page right here. And then I lose 2 time, right? But let's say I was partially awesome. Well, good, okay? So there, I rolled that. Basically, you need a 5 or a 6 in order to get a star. So let's say I rolled 1. Then I would move up to 1 space, take no damage, but then I would lose 1 time, right? And if I rolled 2 of those, 2 5s or 6s, I'd get to move 2 spaces and still only lose 1 time, right? And so then I could go ahead and move into the space here. And I could, move around and do whatever. So that's how these actions work. You can do a number of actions, like you can walk, you can attack when the creature's in the space with you. Later on, as you get other actions, you can do things like search. Sorry about the glare. So searching allows you to take item cards from locations and pick up gear, right? So for instance, right here, we have in the armory is a stack of I think it's 4 cards. And in the mess hall, there's 4 cards. And in the storage, there's 4 cards. So when our hero goes to, say, the armory, right over here, she can go ahead and roll. If she has a search card in her hand, she can roll and see what she can get. If you only get 1 success, then you just got to take the top card off of there. If you get 2 successes, you get to pull 2 cards and then choose one of them to keep, put the other one back in the stack there. Once these cards are out, there's 4 of them for each one. They're perishable, so then that means you're done. They're gone. So you can also, there's a number of other cards. Like you can use guard for when the creature attacks you. You can ignore damage. There's all sorts of things. There's things like this that you can use. I use this one. This is a great one. So with planning, you roll the dice and it allows you to add these bonus dice. So even though there's 2 dice for most of this, there's 4 extra dice that you can go ahead and use if you decide to totally pimp your roll. So pretty cool stuff. So what you'll do is you would do your actions here, right? And then once you're all done with your action cards, whether you're done with however many of these that you want, then so the way that I had it set up here, let's say I walked, and then there's the creature's not on the board. So let's say I did focus. Focus is something that you can do to actually bring the horror level down, right? So let's say I did focus. Then I go back here, right? So I would put these here. Then the next thing that I would do in the planning phase is I'd purchase action cards. So if I did these 2 actions here, and let's say I lost at least 1 time because of my walk, so I'm down to 5 here, right? And then I'm saying, all right, well, what do I want to do? I got 5 points. So let's say I take 1 close call, and then maybe 1 sprint. That's 3 right there. And then for a 2-point power, which one was cool? Guard is always great to have in case the creature shows up so you can protect yourself. So then I just add those to my hand, right? And then these slide over to be redistributed at the end of my next planning phase. So in other words, I don't throw these back over here yet. They go back over, they slide over here. I have the next turn, at the end of my turn, whatever actions I took here, slide here, then these go back over into this area here. Okay, so so I can't use these cards again for at least I think 2 turns, 1 turn, 2 turns, whatever. So that's how the planning phase works. Then the killer phase is you resolve the killer action. So we go up to the killer's card right here. This tells us what he's going to do. He's going to aim for a victim. So in other words, on board our USS Conrad, we have Ellen Ripley, right? But then over here, we've got, Kane, and then we've got Dallas, and we've got Lambert, and then all these other people here. So these are all what you call victims. And the killer, in this case, our Evomorph, he's going to move close to the nearest person that he can find, and then he's going to kill him. So we look at where his bloodlust is, and it's over here. He's only moving 1 space per turn, but he's doing 10 damage. And the reason why is for this particular scenario, he starts out as hatchling. So he's moving around, and he's trying to, it's basically a face hugger, He's trying to go up and kill a victim. The minute that he kills a victim, he evolves into a youngling, right? And then once the cards, once you have certain cards here in ambush, these are called ambush cards, and these are specific towards the Evomorph, then he can evolve up into an adult. So, and it's pretty cool if you buy these miniatures. Like I said, I think they're probably like $20 or something on the website, and you can actually buy these. So you start out as a little hatchling there, like a little face hugger, and then you evolve into this little dude here and everything, and then you go up to, I told myself I wasn't going to say and everything. You guys got to break me of this, okay? I'm actually a very educated and articulate person. And then you would get the final, come on, I'm trying to get him to focus, because these are just beautiful models. Can we get him? It's not wanting to focus, folks. Anyway, I think I had a good view of him early on in the game. And, if you're playing this retail version, you would just be using a meeple for all 3, but, have some fun. Spend the $20. It's okay. So he basically evolves as the game goes on. Once he finally gets to the adult phase, his starting hit points is 4. He would go up to 10. These would all move here. And then every time a victim is killed, his bloodlust goes up. Also, that can also go up from terror cards. So after the creature moves and then it attacks, right? And his attack is only doing 1 point of damage right now. But as it goes up here, it's doing 10 points of damage. As it goes up, he goes ahead and see right here, when he moves here, he evolves to the next level. When he goes here, he evolves into an adult. When he goes here, the terror level moves down the range until it gets to here where we only get 1 more die. So the more people he kills, the stronger he gets. He gets better movement, and he gets more attack value, right? And then he can also increase the horror value in the game. So then after he's done, then you draw a terror card. The cool thing is your terror deck is made up of 2 different cards. Some of them are related to the creature, some of them are related to the map, and you shuffle them before you start, and you'll see what I mean here. Like, so when we draw one of these, this is like a location one. This is actually for the creature, for its dead silence. Roll 1 fewer dice to a minimum of 1 die when resolving a scan action. And this is actually a permanent power. It goes up there, and it also shows that the first 2 hits that go on him will go onto that card instead of onto him. So it's a pretty cool ability. Let's take a look at another one, some more situational. Okay, here we go. So this is like an environment one. Gas leak. Roll a die to determine which maintenance shafts leak toxic gas. So you would roll this, it corresponds to a location on the board. Everyone in the station adjacent to one of those places receives 1 wound, and then you would actually you have these event cards, which are pretty cool, and it tells you to just change the event. It's like the starting event card I had for this one is cramped escape pods. If there's 1 or more victim in an escape pod space, You can't save the victims in that space. So let's talk about what saving victims does for you. So anytime you have a little door icon right there, you get a victim, when you pass through an area that has a victim in it, the victims actually follow you. Okay, and if you get any victims into one of these areas that has a little green door on it, it doesn't matter what the scenario is, then the victim goes ahead and comes over to your card, and you can put it anywhere on the card here. Like if I put it over here, then I subtract 1 horror. If I put it over here, I can just pick up a search card. I can heal a wound. I can move 1 extra space. I can get 2 extra time so that I can buy more cards or take more actions depending on what I want to do. Once I get 6 of these in place, I actually flip the card over, and then she has her special scenario ability. So when she's performing a search action, she can look through all the locations item cards instead of just the space items decks. So the unused item cards as well. So basically she'd be able to thumb through those and choose whichever one that she wanted. And then any additional victim that you save actually gives you more time. So it still behooves you to try and save victims. The other thing too, the reason why you'd want to save victims even after getting your scenario power there is it prevents the creature from killing the victims and thus getting having their bloodlust increase and what have you. Dang it, I did it. I said it. Come on, guys. All right. So really, and then after that, after the killer phase goes, then you'd have the panic phase. Any people that were in a area in which the killer kills one of the victims would then flee. They panic and flee and they run out of the area. You'd roll 1 to 6 to see what area, like if they were over here, then they'd run in one of these directions here. And they're just, they're screaming, running out of there as quick as they possibly can. In this case here, it's only one direction that they can go. And there's cool little things that you can do like this. These are like little kind of air shafts. And if she spends a key card, she has like these little key cards that she's got with her. If you spend one of these and you place it right here, then it's indicative that this now is open and you can travel through here. What's very interesting about this scenario is that only the final girl and with her victims in tow can go through the hatchways there. The creature doesn't go through the hatchways. For this scenario, what's kind of cool is the creature actually, because of certain event cards, will disappear off the map, and you'll put the creature here, and then you'll draw, whether it's a youngling or if it's an adult, you'll draw the card and you'll see what happens here. So this one is like a good thing where good stuff happens, but like here, if it's an adult, place it in the closest space without an X, remove the X's, and then increase your horror. So this is bad things. This allows you, and you can do in this is very scenario specific for this one. You can conduct scans to prevent it from being able to spawn in certain areas by placing these little X's and stuff. But anyhow, in the end, the game winds up where you go ahead and it's your final girl. She either dies or you wind up killing the Evomorph or the killer per se. I actually got very lucky in this scenario when I was playing it for the first time because, as you can see in my setup, I went ahead and set everything back up the way it was. I had the super loader key, which was in the armory. The very first thing I did was save some people. I ran down to the armory and I picked up the key. Then when I got the key, you go over here to this room, which is the hangar, and then you can use the key to obtain the super loader, which I got very quickly. I also very quickly rescued 6 people, just by luck of the draw. I just got very lucky. And so really, I was spending most of my time. You cannot heal and you can't search for anything when you're running around in the loader. So I actually would just save my cards from turn to turn and just wait for the creature to pop out. and then I would smack it a couple times, and it would smack me, and then it would run off and it would disappear again. And so I would just kind of sit and wait for it to pop back out. The other thing that's very cool too is that at some point when the creature becomes an adult, it unlocks a special ability. And there's I think there's 3 of these each time. So like in this one here, he gets acid blood. Every time you damage him when you're in the space, he does 1 damage to you, which is very xenomorphish. If at any point you run out of the terror cards here, like there's only 8 for this scenario here, then you would flip over your final confrontation card here, and it changes. Now it's going to attack either the final girl or a victim, whoever's closer. He's going to move, he's going to do 1 attack, and then he disappears. When drawing an ambush card, draw +1 and choose the card with the highest danger value. So these have a danger value rating right up here. The higher it is, the worse it is. So that's actually a pretty cool final confrontation card right there. And so that would be what you would run if we ran out of these terror cards. So what do I dislike about the game? The setup takes a little bit of time. If I was going to be critical of it, I would say there's a lot of setup. For a solitaire game, I kind of thought this would be something that I would throw in my pack if I had to go to out-of-town training or anything like that. When I was back at my hotel, I was kind of thinking, yeah, I would go ahead and play this. That's not going to happen. This is not going to fit on a small table, so it is pretty size intensive. Setup takes some time. The other thing that I would tell you is that in addition to learning your initial rules, you're going to be reading a little rule book about the creature-specific rules and then the location-specific rules. So that it's expensive. The game is expensive. It's over $100 to get the 4 or 5 scenario. Actually, I think it comes with 5 scenarios in there. You can purchase them individually. I want to say the scenarios are about $20, and then the basic box is about $20 on the website and everything. But you're going to want to get the box with all the different scenarios so that you can play different scenarios, so you can mix and match them, so you can use the different final girls. Each scenario box comes with 2 final girls in it. So like this basic box would have 10 that you could choose from, and they're completely compatible. You can mix and match it. And the other thing too that's really cool, I have to say, so this is your basic setup here, right? It's different every time you set it up. So this here, you draw the card. This shows you the starting location for the final girl, starting location for the killer, any kind of key cards that are set up around there. And then these numbers are how many victims are in the spaces. So every time you play, you draw a random card to find out where it is and whatnot. Okay, so what do I like about this game? It's fun. Despite its complexity, it's easy. The thing that I would say about the weakness, the fact that you have to memorize 3 sets of rules, is actually its great strength. It is so different every time. I could see how different it could go every time when you're playing. I also think it's, one of the things about cooperative games. This is my first solitaire game I've ever bought, but I've played cooperative games solitaire. Is that this one definitely is hard, but it's not impossible. It doesn't just beat your nose into the dirt like some of these other games, which are great games, but I just don't play them because they're just so flippin' hard. Or if you have a couple bad rolls, then you just can't do it. And Nemesis is one of those games. I absolutely love that game. It's one of my all-time favorite games. But I'll tell you what, if you have some bad rolls, it's just impossible to win in that game. The one thing that I really liked about this game that was so cool is you have these abilities that you can use. Yeah, okay, there's a dice mechanic. Yeah, it's about rolling. But you have abilities that you can burn to help stack the deck, to help give you a little bit of an edge so that you can go ahead and soften your rolls. And if you botch your rolls, then you even have cards like this, which you can discard cards to allow you to re-roll. And I thought that was a very cool mechanic. I definitely enjoyed that, so that if I did completely tank an important roll, that I had another way to out. On the same note, it was difficult. I mean, I had to stop a couple times, take my suit off, throw it on the ground just so that I could heal, because one of the rules with the suit here is that you can't heal when you're wearing the suit. So anyway, my point being is the difficulty is challenging yet not impossible. So I definitely liked that about it. The components are absolutely beautiful. The artwork is great. The style is there. After playing it, I really regret not getting the season 1 as well. I really wish I would have gotten the season 1 so I could have played the typical slasher movies. I feel like this season 2 is more on the science fiction side, but the season 1 is kind of like the classic slasher, Freddy Krueger and Jason type movies and stuff. But okay, so final thoughts on it. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's definitely something where if you were sick and could not be around other people yet were in the mood for a board game, you could certainly do it. The playtime, again, I'm guessing it's probably, once you know what you're doing, it's probably going to be about an hour. But it took me 2, just because I was setting it up for the first time. I was playing it for the first time and really kind of rereading the instructions as I went. So overall, I like this game. I would give it an 8+, like an 8.5, I guess, out of 10. It's definitely not the most fun game at all, but even at the end, when I actually wound up finally killing the Xenomorph, I was like, yes! I actually said it, and my teenager looked out, and he was like, what are you doing? But that's how it was tense. That's how into it I was. I really thought it was cool. One other thing I want to mention that I did not point out in the game is once your final girl loses all her hearts, or once the Xenomorph, the creature, the killer, loses all theirs. What's really cool about you've got this little divot thing here, this little kind of chip, and you flip it over. So let's say we killed our Xenomorph and we flip it over at the last minute, and he actually has 1 hit point left. And what that represents is like in the movies where it looks like the creature's dead or the killer's dead, and then they jump up for one last moment of terror and everything. I thought that was a very cool mechanic to simulate the kind of, and it also works for the heroine too, for the final girl, right? Where, she has 2 hit points. But so you draw these randomly and don't look at what they are. Sometimes it's just, nope, you're dead. If it's down there, no, you're dead. So that was a really cool mechanic that I thought was definitely in the theme of the pop culture notion of the final girl. But anyway, that's my review. I am going to finish up my wine, then I'm going to bed, and then I think I'm going to clean all this crap up. Or maybe I'll leave it out. I think I want to play it again. I definitely want to play it again. But yeah, this was Final Girl, and I really enjoyed it. I never thought that I would put so much money into a solitaire game, but I say yes. This is going to be great if you wind up getting sick, you're not feeling good, or you're on your own, or you could take this, like if you're going out of town or on a trip all by yourself and you're looking to entertain yourself and play a game, and you don't want to play on a tablet or sit and look at your Instagram, this is a good way to go. So anyway, this is Deeb. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm really trying hard to get you guys some content out there. I know I've been dormant for like the last 7 months, so bear with me. I got some other role-playing games I want to review, and I will review these Kickstarters as they come in and let you know if they're really going to be worth your money in the retail world. So anyway, thanks again for watching. If you really enjoyed what you see, make sure you give me a like, give me a subscribe, or not. I'm really just doing this for fun. I'm not making money off of this or anything like that. But take care, have fun, and keep your dice rolling. We'll see you next time.